Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us at the VEF again. It's wonderful, especially on such a lovely night. This is finally spring, really feels like it's here. And really, we have a terrific panel, terrific show for you this evening. Our events would not be possible without the hard work and contributions of our events committee. And tonight, this topic was put together by Andrew Lugston and of BDC Venture Capital, and Glenn Sampson of NRC IRAP. So if you gentlemen, if you are here, please stand up, be recognized, and if we have a nice round of applause, thank you very much. Also, just one quick mention. One of our team members here at the Vancouver film team here has passed away. Sumit Guha was one of the people that took care of our sound, and unfortunately he passed away just recently, and a real terrific fellow, really supported us well and was always a nice person to be around. So rest in peace, Sumit, and may our prayers be with you and your family. Also, I'd like to take a minute to thank our many sponsors and supporters that help the VEF host these events and make these events really affordable. All of the sponsors and supporters are profiled on our website and on the screens around us and at the registration desk. We ask you to actively seek them out and talk with them and see if there's any way that you can help them and they can help you support your businesses and your ventures here in Vancouver. One of our long-term sponsors is VanEdge Capital. VanEdge Capital is a Series A venture capital fund based in Vancouver, BC. VanEdge invests worldwide with a focus on US and Canada. They focus on investing in companies which can leverage their operating skills, experience, and contacts to bring great products and services to market. VanEdge generally invests between $2.2 million and $5 million and typically do not invest in seed or angel investments. Ideal companies should be post-revenue with a fast-growing user base and have demonstrated product market fit. I'd like to invite Amy Ray to stand up and be recognized. There's Amy. Thank you very much. Please, if you're seeking between $2 and $5 million in capital, she would love to have a chat with you. And then when she gives it, I would love to chat with you. One of our other longtime sponsors is SFU-Beedie School of Business. For over 40 years, the Beedie School of Business at Simon Fraser University has been designing and delivering business education to train future leaders. Leaders with a global focus, sensitive to the needs of the communities in which they operate, and equipped with the skills and knowledge to create, manage innovative organizations. Operating across 3 SFU campuses and serving 3,400 undergraduate students and more than 250 graduate students, the Beedie School of Business offers a highly competitive Bachelor of Business Administration program and 5 graduate-level part-time and full-time degrees. In addition, the Beedie School of Business works directly with leading companies in BC to deliver customized executive education to their management teams. The school enjoys joint accreditation from both the European Federation for Management Development, also known as EQUIS, and the Association of Advancement of Collegiate Schools of Business, that's AACSB, a combination carried by less than 1% of the business schools worldwide. The Beedie School of Business at SFU, working with the business community to grow and develop your talent. Before I invite Michael Johnson to come up and deliver a brief infomercial on what BDC is up to, I'd like to have Beatrice Wong stand up and be recognized as well. And also, I'd like to thank Christine Solander, who's also been with us and has been on our operations committee for a while. So if you could stand up, be recognized, that would be terrific. And if you didn't make it inside, I'm sure she's standing outside. So Michael, if I can have you come on up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. My name is Michael Johnson. I briefly want to just talk to you about the jewel of SFU's MBA program called Management of Technology MBA program. The program is actually designed for a technology professional who's thinking about taking an MBA program, who's trying to ladder into a more strategic role within an organization. It's a part-time program catering to working professionals And it attracts individuals from a wide variety of different technology backgrounds, engineering, applied science, biotech, electronics, arts, and communication. The program has been in existence for 15 years and was founded with the help of industry to really develop this gap which existed between an MBA program and having a technology input. The program itself is one of a kind in Western Canada, and it actually has accreditations which only 1% of all business schools in all of Canada actually have been able to attain. In terms of courses, the actual program has regular MBA courses that you would normally take, such as finance, operations, entrepreneurship. However, it has a unique viewpoint, is that it's all the courses which are delivered from a technology lens. It also has some very unique specialized courses in the area of technology. It offers courses in commercialization, innovation, and also project management. In terms of other things that I could mention about the course itself, I'd invite you to come on out and meet me afterwards with Beatrice. You get to meet her finally. We're outside. We actually have an information session offered on May 14th, and I'd love to tell you more about the program. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Michael. Also, I would like to invite Thea Nicola from WealthBar to come up and say a few words as well. Give a quick announcement, please.
Thank you very much, Tim. WealthBar is Canada's only full-service portfolio manager to conduct its services entirely online. We offer low-cost ETFs and financial planning for everybody who has more than $5,000 to save. But today I have a special announcement. WealthBar is adding private client wealth management service to their arsenal of products. And each great story starts with great partnership. WealthBar has recently partnered with Nicola Wealth Management, a boutique wealth management firm in Vancouver that focuses on professionals and small business owners who have investable assets of over $1 million. And while not all of us have $1 million, all of us need a wise investment advice. So what's really a big deal? Well, this story really started 3,000 years ago, where the Talmud tells us that we should all divide our wealth into three parts and invest a third in business, a third in real estate, and keep a third in reserve. But who really invests like this these days? Well, it turns out Ontario Teachers' Pension Plan puts the third in business, the third in real estate, and keeps the third in reserve. And this has returned 8.6% annualized return over the last 10 years. Tiger 21 is one of the biggest investment clubs in Canada. It requires $10 million in investable assets minimum to join, and they also invest like that. And Nicola Wealth Management Core Composite Portfolio has returned 6.2% annualized over the past 10 years, and they also follow this philosophy. The advantages are the reduction in volatility and the cash flow. And I'll just give you a little bit of the reduction in volatility really protects you on that worst year in the market. The TSX lost 34% in the 2009. This strategy lost only about 7.5%, and the same overall return at a reduction of volatility. The other one is also over the long term, when you compare the naive indexes, this outperforms the balanced portfolio as well as the market itself. And when you start taking money out, it continues to grow your wealth while you enjoy the cash flow. The advantage, and all of that at a very low fee of 0.35 to 6.6%, depending on the size of the account. The WealthBar advantage is that we're online and we're convenient. And rather than going to meet your advisor on a Tuesday morning at 11:30 and get stuck in traffic and be late for work, you can do this on a Sunday night with a glass of wine. Thank you very much. My name is Thea Nicola, and I'm a founder of WealthBar. If you have any more questions, please come and talk to me after the thanks.
Thank you very much, Thea. Now, also I'd like to quickly invite Brian Buggy up. We've got lots of things going on, so I'm going to try and read as quickly as I can. Brian is going to give a brief infomercial on the VEC, and then you take it on from there. Thank you very much.
VEC, Vancouver Economic Commission, for those that don't know the acronym. So I was at the Economic Developers Annual Summit today and yesterday. It's the kind of conference that I wouldn't wish on anyone, certainly not in this room, but I took one for the team. And the takeaway for me actually was with both the BC Ministry of International Trade and the BC Ministry of Jobs, Tourism and Skills Training, they've done a bunch of research on jobs. Is that me? Yeah, that's a black one. Economic developers have to purchase, Canadian-made stuff. So it's all part of the strategy. Now, anyone know Sean Elby? He's on a iPhone, and if anyone sees him, they keep him in line and get him back on his BlackBerry. So the Ministry of Jobs, Tourism and Skills Training told me today that they are forecasting 1,025,000 job vacancies by 2022 in British Columbia. That number to me is absolutely astounding. So I challenged them. I got up to the mic and said, that can't be possible. It just doesn't make sense. There's only 4 million people that live in BC. So we started to break down the numbers a little bit. 2/3 of those are actually going to be turnover. The baby boomers are retiring. So if we subtract the baby boomers out, which I actually aren't going to retire. I'm a baby boomer, and I'm going to be working well past retirement age, I think. But we still have 300,000 vacancies forecasted in British Columbia between now and 2022. That's still remarkable. The ICTC, the ICTC is the Industry Association for Canada. They did a report. They're saying that Vancouver is going to have a shortage of 15,000 jobs just in Vancouver alone. We're also at the Vancouver Economic Commission tracking 2,500 vacancies just in digital media. It just goes on and on. The numbers are astounding. And so what it's caused us to do is really focus more on talent this year more than ever. And I just wanted to let you know we've done a lot of work on that. We're now messaging Vancouver and its brand as a destination for talent. We used to do a lot of work on a destination for investment and destination for business, but now we've thrown in a new message. And we're in London, we're in China, we're in California all the time, and we're really promoting Vancouver as a destination to develop your career. We hope it's working, but there's still a lot of work to do on that. We've also partnered with a lot of organizations. We partnered with Lighthouse Labs, and we took the HTML 500 across the country this year in Toronto, Calgary, and London, and again promoted Vancouver as a destination to develop your career. Fortunately, it was about -40 in most of those cities at the time we did it. We were oversubscribed. A few pictures of the cherry blossoms didn't hurt. So again, the other things that we're doing is we've got a big startup week coming up in September. We'll be promoting talent and hosting job fairs then. We've got a Tech Vibes Tech Fest job fair coming up in late May. And I just want to share a couple of hashtags with you, because right now we're running a contest, and we want to promote this contest hopefully through all of your channels, through Twitter, hashtag YVRJobs, and hashtag YVRJobs, or hashtag break something. So we're hoping if you're on social media, you'll help promote it. I think the contest closes in the next day or so. And the winner of this contest gets a free trip to Vancouver, I believe, for Startup Week in September. I can't, is that right, Sean? Okay, so a free trip to Vancouver in late May to check out TechFest and the new studios in town and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to introduce the lightning pitches. The first one is Christine Pilkington from JellyBeen.
I think you have my click.
I have the clicker. Here you go.
So what is JellyBeen? JellyBeen is a mobile-first platform that is seeking to transform the way urbanite parents, particularly moms because they are the chief caregiver in the families, the way they discover and remember great places to eat, shop, and play in their city. I am a mom of 3 kids, so I can tell you there is a real pain when it comes to trying to figure this stuff out. And this new generation of parents have that problem, but in addition to that, they are seeing themselves beyond this identity of moms, and they also are looking as digital natives to use resources to help them figure this out, and they're sorely disappointed that there really isn't anything out there. So that's why we're launching JellyBeen. JellyBeen, it uses a proprietary algorithm to deliver relevant results based upon user-generated content that tells us whether a place has a high chair, if it is stroller-friendly, if there's kids' menus, and that sort of thing. This is a big opportunity. These families are spending $23 billion on these kinds of services, and advertisers are looking for a piece of that wallet. I have over 15 years of experience in digital. I am backed by Keith Ippel and Bonnie Foley-Wong of Spring Activator, formerly of Invoke Labs. I have a team of 5 working out of Chinatown. And we have traction. So we have existing revenue, and we are looking to convert that into JellyBeen. And and I'm looking to connect with investors and meet people who are interested in joining my team. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. Okay, Joe.
Joe from Guusto.
That's right.
Busy people need easy ways to strengthen relationships. Maybe you're a realtor and you've got hundreds of clients to thank. Or you're part of a customer service team that needs a loyalty program. Or you've got friends and family across the country celebrating a special occasion. But buying physical gifts is expensive and time-consuming. Gift cards are a hassle to carry around and often get lost. Guusto, which means my pleasure, is a mobile gifting app that allows you to send food and drinks. We've taken the idea of picking up the tab at lunch for a client or buying a friend a pint on their birthday and allow you to do it from anywhere. Unlike plastic gift cards, Guusto gifts are instant, thoughtful products like a bottle of wine or dessert, and they can be redeemed at any partner restaurant, like The Keg, Moxie's, Milestones, Cactus Club, Joey's, Montana's, many, many more. And to really make someone's day, we donate 1 day of clean drinking water for every gift sent. We're currently raising $300,000 on a convertible note. We're about 50% subscribed. So if you're interested in learning more about the opportunity, I'd love to chat at the booth after the presentations. In the meantime, if you have someone to thank, to reward, to congratulate, to give a high five to, or a kick in the rear, then I encourage you to pull out your phone, download the Guusto app, and see what all the fuss is about. Mucho gusto.
Thanks, Joe. So Mona Akavi from Sidebuy.
Did you know that the combined traffic of Blogger, WordPress, and blog loving is equal to Google's monthly traffic? That's about 170 million uniques. McKinsey did a study that showed bloggers can generate twice more sales for brands and retailers. That's why at Sidebuy, we're very passionate about connecting local retailers and brands with bloggers and influencers so they can create custom campaigns and reach a very relevant and highly engaged audience. Brands create custom campaigns. They collaborate with a blogger from our network of bloggers. Bloggers create original content and start promoting. Sidebuy's intelligent analytics tracks the impact and reach of the campaign across social networks. Bloggers get a profile on the site so they can actually showcase their influence and reach. All of that happens on our dashboard. All of this is possible on mobile, so retailers can actually manage and track conversions and track their campaigns on mobile devices, as well as send notifications about campaigns happening. This is our team. Anna and Yasmin, our marketing team, are here at the booth, actually. We've got great investors from 2 local successful companies. I've been building apps for CBC, Black Friday, Olympics, some of the brands. Come and chat with us. We're looking for funding. We're hiring devs and bloggers and retailers. Come talk to me. You'll make money doing what you love.
Thanks, Mona. That's Mona Ackerby from Sidebuy. We have Serge Saliger from Inbound Retargeting Technologies.
Hello, everyone. So I'm here to present Retarget Links. We operate in the same space as Google. We do, which is a $50 billion targeted marketing advertising. As you know, Google, when you actually look for Telescope, for example, you get a bunch of advertising in the second page, which is relevant to what you're actually looking for. The problem is that, as you can see from what Mona just discussed, social media is actually surpassing traffic from search. So anybody who goes into internet today receives a newsletter, receives a tweet feed, or receives a Facebook. You have links which are shared with you, and you're going from A to B thanks to social media. And Google now is about 50% of that traffic. Our product actually solves that problem about how to allow advertisers to do advertising in social media. So what we do is that we actually create those links that you can share in Twitter, in Facebook, or in email addresses. As people click and go from one page to the other, we track those links, and we allow advertisers to show, like in this case for McDonald's, banner ads either on mobile or on Globe and Mail or other networks. Our tool is a combination of a URL shortener, and we use your retargeting cookie tracker for that purpose. It's very easy to set up. If you have a retargeting campaign going on, you can use it. So this is Retarget Links. We are a company recently funded. We also are we're half subscribed in our funding. So if you're looking for to place your money, you can come to me, and then you can use our product. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Serge. We've got Brian Saborin from, is it Lufelive or Lufelive?
Yeah, you're the only one who's really got it right. That's great. The sport, health, and fitness industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the world. And the reason for that is that technology has allowed us to realize the significant impact it has on our everyday lives. You see, as a former athlete, sport, health, and fitness enthusiast, I played Major League Baseball with the Seattle Mariners, interacted with thousands of athletes, coaches, and sport, health, and fitness enthusiasts. And there's a common pain point shared by us all. And that is that the industry is simply bursting at the seams for a technology solution that provides simplistic and easy access to information, resources, and like-minded people, which is why we've created Lufelive, a single online platform providing access to athletes and sport, health, and fitness enthusiasts, a platform developed to unite the sport, health, and fitness industry around the globe, a $2.3 trillion industry. Similar to what House.com has done for the renovation industry and what Zillow has done for the real estate industry. I have personally injected $50K for research and development. We have raised $225K for product development. And we are now raising $2.5 million to market our product effectively and to perfect our conversion rate and acquisition strategy. We have significant documentation, revenue models, and forecasting that I'd be happy to present to you at any time. I would just like to thank you for the opportunity to present here today.
Thanks, Brian. Next, we have Dr. Amir Ahmedtabar.
That's right.
I got it?
Yeah.
From Visibify.
That's right. So I'm going to play a video which introduces our product, which is actually offering a new source of revenue to public transit.
What if we could make these ads more interesting to these guys? That would definitely make the advertisers happier. Let's first see what the passengers really like to see. Good deals about local businesses, where they can walk to and take advantage of. Visibify offers location-aware signages. It is smart enough to display the deals and promotions to passengers right when the bus is within several meters of that store. But check this out. As the city bus travels, the screen contents get updated automatically with real-time data. The LAS is equipped with geosensors and remote data communication devices which constantly report its location to the server and updates the passengers with what is going on in that neighborhood, current promotions, community events. In one word, all the awesomeness in town, based on the current location and time. So businesses can now instantly reach out to local shoppers using smartphones or desktops. No printing needed, no upfront planning. And there, they got it. Visibify, making businesses visible to locals. Visibify, making promotions visible to locals.
So what you just saw has been implemented and well tested and ready to go onto 1,500 buses in BC alone. We are funded by the government, IRAP, and we are looking for more cash. Thank you.
Great. Thanks to all of the pitchers. And just one last time, that's hashtag YVRJobs or hashtag break something to help us attract more talent to Vancouver. Thank you.
So thanks. I'd like to engineer a hot swap. So if you'd like to take a seat and switch over. And while we're switching over, just one quick one. Apologies to all those that wanted to do a lightning pitch tonight, but were unable. We had something like 15 applications, but there is one that we just need to quickly shout out. Yingqing Wang, president of Pantascope Media, is looking for a VP of Business Development who knows a thing or two about social media and marketing. So Yingqing, if she can, there you go. Yingqing is looking for a VP Biz Dev. Come and see him. So I'd like to invite up our moderator without further ado. So Rick Kohn, if you could come and join us. Oh, there you are. You're already, that was quick. So please go ahead. Now, very quickly, we have a Twitter feed coming up here. If you can do hashtag VEFEcom. We'll be taking a look at some questions throughout the show, and please put a Q in front of it, and that would be terrific. So thank you very much, and please, Rick, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we're going to talk about retail for the next hour or so. We're going to start by easing us into that by introducing the panel members. I'm Rick Kohn, and I'm a partner at Deloitte, Deloitte Private. And I also lead the consumer products and retail practice for Deloitte in BC. My background is that I used to work in retail on the floor and at the CFO desk. And so I have a real passion for retail. And we're going to talk about how that space is changing dramatically and how it intersects with technology. Let me introduce the rest of the panel members. Peter Lukomskyj, VP of Products at Elastic Path. Peter sets the product vision and leads the product management, product development, and product operations teams that deliver on that vision. Peter was most recently Chief Operating Officer for Quick Mobile, which during his tenure placed #1 on Deloitte's Technology Fast 50. That's awesome. Congratulations.
That was a wild ride.
Prior to that, Peter was Global Vice President at Sophos, where over 8 years he managed product lines, led customer loyalty and e-commerce, and assessed and integrated acquisitions. Peter holds both CPA and engineering designations with an MBA from Queen's and a Bachelor of Engineering Science from Western. Peter. Brooke Harley. Brooke is founder of Campfire Capital, a venture capital firm investing in early stage businesses innovating at the intersection of technology and retail. Backed by 20 current and former Lululemon executives, Campfire was established in 2014 to join tech VCs in funding and supporting the small, agile, technology-driven retail startups disrupting the $5 trillion consumer products industry. To date, Campfire has invested alongside tech investors Google Ventures and Kleiner Perkins, as well as strategic investors like Coca-Cola and Campbell Soup. Prior to founding Campfire, Brooke served as Lululemon Athletica's Director of Business Development, overseeing the valuation, restructuring, and acquisition of the company's international joint ventures and franchises, as well as leading market entry operations for Lululemon's debut in Asia and Europe. Before joining Lululemon, Brooke worked as an attorney in mergers and acquisitions. Jeff Booth. Jeff is president and CEO of BuildDirect, who applies his curiosity and deep knowledge of both technology and trends to how people explore, purchase, and ultimately interact and connect in the home improvement industry. Drawing from his experience as a builder, Jeff co-founded BuildDirect in 1999 to address the inefficiencies and high costs inherent with the home improvement and building supplies industry. Most told him that the industry was too large and too broken to fix or disrupt, but Jeff only saw possibilities. He knew with a combination of his entrepreneurial spirit, vision, and technology, he could build a simple, trusted, and efficient home improvement industry, ultimately opening a world of possibilities for consumers, sellers, designers, and those in trades and shippers. He is also a member of the Young Presidents Organization and sits on the board for Spud.ca. Igor Faletski is the CEO of Mobify, the leading mobile shopping platform powering global brands like Starbucks, Garmin, British Telecom, and Siemens. Mobify has grown from a 3-person startup in a Burnaby basement to a global mobile technology leader with over 100 employees and presence in the UK, Brazil, and Japan. Igor is a recipient of BC Business Top 30 Under 30 Award and an aspiring open water swimmer, which we'll have to get into in more detail. So welcome the panel. So I'm going to get started and set a little bit of context. And I'm going to start by asking you all a question. So we're talking about retail, so shopping, buying stuff for yourself. How many of you buy stuff for yourself online? I think I saw just about every hand go up. How many of you shop primarily online? Okay. And how many of you shop primarily only in physical retail stores? Okay. All right. Interesting. Good. Retail, just to set the context a little bit, it used to be a game of product and real estate. So you find a product, you provide an excellent experience for your customers, and then you figure out where you're going to place that in neighborhoods and how you're going to get product to the store and ultimately sell it to consumers. But we know that that's now changing. Retail is still that game, but it's becoming more and more a game of product and technology, and then providing a thrilling experience for your customer. So we know, for example, that real estate, which significantly disrupted retail many years ago with the shopping mall and the suburban shopping mall, had a really long run. But real estate is quickly starting to be disrupted as it relates to retail. New retail real estate construction, is virtually vanished. You still see some, but overall the numbers just don't exist anymore. And foot traffic in malls has dropped significantly and is going to continue to drop. There's some predictions that over the next 15 years, the amount of mall space might actually drop by half. So that's significant. And we know that consumers are digital and they're demanding more from retailers, and they're making demands on retailers' ability to deliver to them through a multiple of channels, online, mobile, being a significant portion of that. And so technology exists now in a significant way to allow creative companies to provide fascinating ways to help the consumer shop. So the message that we give to retailers on a daily basis is to change and to keep changing and to change fast and develop a culture of innovation and change. Because if you don't, somebody's going to catch up to you and pass you awfully quickly. So with that as a backdrop, I want to give you a chance to hear from panel members before going into some specific questions. And I'll start us off with just sort of a general question around your view about where e-commerce has come from and where it's going to. So why don't you start us off?
Sure. Thanks, Rick. Well, if I look at where I saw e-commerce 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, it was a new channel. It was a new experimental way of approaching the market. We've now seen it not only become sometimes the predominant channel, but we've really, especially when we see the types of customers that PlasticPath has, we really start seeing customers considering all commerce to be e-commerce. So we've even struggled whether we represent ourselves as an e-commerce company or whether we represent ourselves as a company that provides software that helps you drive your commerce activity. And I think that's the biggest evolution. Is e-commerce is no longer a box. It's no longer somebody who's a specialist in the company taking care of that online stuff that's separate from the majority of the business. It is the business. And so weaving both a digital and a physical experience into one commerce experience is really, I think, the biggest evolution we've seen.
Excellent. Brooke?
Yeah, maybe you might not like it has to do with bricks and mortar. We're seeing companies picking it old school. Really, the retail startups are starting online. And at about $20 million to $100 million, they're actually starting with getting back into bricks and mortar. And so I think a lot of people for a long time thought it was going away. And you just have to look at Nasty Gal and Birchbox and Warby Parker and Bonobos and Frank and Oak, which are now hitting a certain growth in their e-com, and then they're coming in with a bricks and mortar channel. You're even seeing Amazon setting up bricks and mortar. You're even seeing Zappos do it. So it's an interesting evolution, and I think that the two channels have to work together, and I just don't think that bricks and mortar is going away. There's a revolution in that, and a turnover in older brands and newer brands, but we're really finding that they start online, and they're popping up with bricks and mortar, actually.
Jeff?
I'm going to more agree with you, Peter, on this. It's about solving a need for a customer. I think what I've seen we started in '99, and starting that long and seeing this play out over that period of time. What happened? The first wave of e-commerce built onto the existing channel, and so they didn't actually provide a lot of value to the buyer besides choice. And if you don't provide a lot of value to the buyer besides choice, you get caught because somebody else does exactly the same thing, and your customer acquisition goes up. And then what you do with that is you build more retail stores to try to reduce your customer acquisition costs. I think ultimately it's about delivering value, simplifying the experience from point A to the customer, and building an entire infrastructure to support that. So I firmly am in the camp that the entire infrastructure supporting retail is going to come out. It's going to look in 10 years, it's going to look like the same conversation that we used to have with Walmart in the corner stores, where we shopped at Walmart and we longed for the days for the corner stores, but we didn't shop there. And I think that evolution is just having a hyperspeed in e-commerce. And it's going to mean radical shifts across the landscape to distribution and everything else.
Igor?
I would say mobile shopping and hardworking to profit is a major change. And we're 4 years ago doing sales calls, calling customers and bonobos with 1% mobile traffic, and me saying, it'll be 2% next year, you should really invest in it. And then it's 5%, 10% of traffic, 25%. And now we see customers that have over half of their traffic coming from smartphones and tablets. And revenue is catching up. And I think the pace of that shift has been crazy, and
is really driving a lot of innovation in how people interact with e-commerce brands, both online and offline. Right now, we're pretty much in a mobile-first age. I think we're going to mobile-only age very quickly. Actually, startups today, I think over half of them were mobile-oriented. I think the side of things to come.
Excellent. So, next question I have, I think it plays on your point around the physical store and the integration of mobile and e-commerce. How do you think e-commerce is going to be disrupted? Because as we've seen over time, the large players in retail don't stay the large players for very long. You think that you're in a golden age where Sears is going to be the biggest retailer and it's going to be the biggest retailer forever, and then you realize that change happens sometimes very quickly. So how is e-commerce going to be disrupted, and what is the new innovation on the horizon? I'm going to pose that one to Jeff and Brooke.
My view is mobile is part of that story. If you think about let's forget e-commerce for a moment, but what's pretty evident across the wild shifts in platform companies, marketplace companies, and I think that's a way more valid place to look. What do they do? So the control point, why the existing control point doesn't get it and can't iterate fast enough, is because what the new company does is they come in and they aggregate excess capacity in the marketplace that no one knew existed. Right? So in retail today, the retailers choose what you see. And aggregating all of the excess capacity is what is going to fundamentally change that. And then they connect that excess capacity with the buyer directly. The buyer makes the decision. And what you can see, if you just take a couple of examples and connect those, Sony, BMG, Universal used to be the person who controlled your music experience. And what they did is they funneled which artists could be seen, right? Until iTunes totally disrupted that and opened it up to anyone. The consumer was in control. And out of that control, we have a wide breadth of music. And Sony, BMG, Universal would have never seen that. They would have never seen the signal because it perfectly reinforced the signal, perfectly reinforced that. If you look at the same exact principle today, Hilton Hotels, Four Seasons, they didn't see that people would rent their rooms in their houses, Airbnb. Airbnb connected that excess capacity directly with the market. And Airbnb is worth more than all of those combined, and they don't own hotel rooms. Uber did the same thing, took the taxi industry, which was in control, and put it to excess capacity that no one knew existed and connected that with simple UI interface. And you can see this trend happening across industry after industry after industry. Yet, in every new industry that it happens to, people say in existing that won't happen here. It's happening everywhere. That is the trend that is going to happen. It's going to be a lightning. As it happens, it's an exponential trend. But by the time it starts to happen, it's too late.
How we see e-commerce being disrupted is through what I call the four sales channels. So we all know e-commerce, we all know bricks and mortar, we all know wholesale. But what's happening is the point of inspiration and the point of purchase is shrinking, and that's happening through social media. So you're starting to be able to buy through Facebook. You're going to see that with Pinterest, Snapchat. You're seeing it through media companies. So if you look at Into the Gloss and Glossier, you look at Thrillist, and you look at Jack Threads underneath. These are media companies that have commerce right underneath them. And what's going to happen is if all of a sudden you need to access your buyers there and you're, say, Lululemon, you're all of a sudden going to have a chunk taken off your sale from Pinterest or from Snapchat. And I think that's going to be disruptive to e-commerce for sure, because now you've got these social channels or media companies owning the channel and nicking your sales.
Excellent. I want to get back to that in a moment, but I want to ask you a question, Peter. How will the proliferation of internet-connected devices and mobile devices affect e-commerce, and we've kind of touched on it, but I want to go deeper into that because I think it ties back into this notion that you touched on it, Jeff, and I believe it. You give the consumer the power, they'll take it, and I think the consumer is getting the power. So,
well, I'd reinforce some of the points that Igor made for sure about mobile first being the channel through which people experience their brands. But I think the proliferation of devices, internet-connected devices, goes obviously beyond the little screen that you're carrying. It goes into the connected world, as more and more things end up with an IP address, end up connected to the internet. Those play two roles. One role they play is the role of providing data. So back to the merchant, back to the person who's trying to target that perfect offer to the right person at the right place at the right price. So they're data collection devices feeding back to the merchants, providing them with those rich analytics. But then they also become the commerce delivery device. We've worked with a number of very sort of visionary clients that have taken new internet connections into devices that are very traditional, and then allowed people to purchase on-demand services through those new internet connected devices in ways that we hadn't imagined. A couple of examples I'll give you. One is an appliance company. They make toasters and they make toaster ovens and blenders and things like that. Their business model had always been build devices, sell them for $199, $200. What they're doing now is saying, what do people do with our devices? Well, they make food. They follow a recipe. So why not take this brand and associate it with the food you're making rather than just the device itself? So along with buying this appliance, you also subscribe to a chef's recipe collection. And then what happens is your appliances help you make that recipe and guide you through the process. So not only are you creating a new point of consumption through these appliances, but you're also feeding back to that manufacturer how their appliances are being used. Another very interesting example that I heard one of our agency clients working with is with an auto manufacturer. With the car being more and more connected to the internet, this car manufacturer is only making one model of car, not an SE and an LE and an XE model, but one model of car that sells for one very low base price. But then if I'm driving to Whistler for the weekend, I can subscribe to traction control for the weekend for $19.99. I can subscribe to some other function that's already built into the car, but it gets activated through the internet for that period of time. So, and then that car feeds back how I've used the car and all that information. So the proliferation of these internet-connected devices creates entirely new consumption models and creates these data points, collection points for data back to the manufacturer that's offering that.
And I think that's incredibly exciting. Tell me about the car, though. Does the car know that I'm speeding? And does like a ticket get issued and just charged on my credit card? Is that how that works? No?
The risk is it can. Yeah, there's a risk of being always watched.
Same question for you.
I think the biggest impact of mobile e-commerce actually the size of the market. Think about even 10 years ago. You come home, turn your computer on, take the mouse, start scrolling through your website to start shopping. And now we all have these powerful computers in our pockets that are always connected, really fast, and there's 3 to 4 billion of those computers in the world very soon. So it's a 10x and a 20x increase in audience size. The people in this audience are shopping right now, so it shows how powerful this is. And I think that is very exciting for anybody in e-commerce because the market is larger, and if the market is larger, you can do more, you can grow faster as an e-commerce merchant. The other thing that's very important that mobile brought is the emphasis on the quality of user experience. So Jeff alluded to Uber and Airbnb being the apps that all of us like to use. And that's the golden standard. They're amazing, easy payment. They're so easy to use. If your website or your mobile app sucks as a retailer, users won't hear that it's cheaper on your site when it's free shipping. They say, this app sucks. I'm going to go shop on Amazon because their app is better. And I think that emphasis on mobile UX is making
design more important again in e-commerce, and is forcing retailers to compete not just on price, but on a whole bunch of other things that are really the full product of getting a solution to a customer's pain. So I think that's also a really major change.
Just to reinforce your point here, I saw a stat recently where over 450 million people right now open an app on their phone over 100 times a day. Over 450 million, over 100 times a day. Those people that are using those apps on the phones aren't using anything else anymore. Everything is moving to a mobile-first strategy.
Yeah, and now with Apple Watch, it can be even more annoying, getting notifications on your screen all day long. So it's really changing how retailers are present in our daily lives, and also enhancing the in-store experience. It's not just about online shopping. People will go into a store, take their phone out, maybe use your app, and it better be custom to location if you have an app, or use a different app to do price checks. So that's changed the field quite a bit for marketing online and offline for e-commerce retailers.
Are you seeing any limitations in terms of how much the consumer wants to, interact with those apps and have those opportunities?
I think nobody likes to be annoyed and be spammed, but also the appetite for new content is also very, very high, especially from young people that use Snapchat all day long. I think there's definitely a different set of expectations, and this permanent connectivity, permanent expectation, being able to go and search and get things that you want. So it's definitely changing as well. We refer to it as crossing the creepy line, and we actually noticed that certain demographics allow you to cross that creepy line a lot more easily.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah. We've got working with a high fashion retailer that's allowing, that's basically sensing when you walk into a retail location, providing kind of an overall digital and physical experience where your mobile is connected to an in-store screen, is connected to your previous shopping history, etc. When we design that experience for someone in their 40s, 50s, we subtly recommend something that might relate to something they've bought before on the in-store screen. Whereas when we recommend for a millennial who's in their 20s, we literally pull up their shopping cart on the screen in store and let them play with it, and they don't find that invasive. Whereas if you're speaking with somebody who's a little bit, you're designing that experience for somebody who's a little bit older, they feel that that's an invasion of their privacy. And that's actually one of the most amazing things right now, is that there is a whole generation that is willing to trade their privacy for convenience. And I think that is a marketer's dream. You really are speaking to the individual. You're able to feed back to them the most relevant offer, the most relevant product, take them through that most guided customer journey. And if it's public, well, it's public. It's okay. The rest of my life is public.
We're all good with that? Yeah. Show of hands. Everyone's good with that? Seriously, I want to know. This is a very important question for retailers. Show of hands. Everyone's good? Yeah? Okay. We've got to work on that one a little bit. But I think we'll get there. Yeah.
I think, but it comes to it's about the data. When data and simplicity of the UI. And when that experience makes your life better, that you don't have to think about something, it goes. Yeah. When it doesn't, and it feels like it's an invasive abuse of privacy, it dies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the connection. Maybe the line is different for different people, but we use the apps. We use the companies. I don't think it's any different than what retail store did to build a brand. It just happens faster, right? In a former world, we used Yellow Pages is Google, right? Amazon is Walmart. It's just happening at an extremely fast pace now, and the companies that are really good at it, and Lululemon was great at it. They created such an experience that connected with their community that they built an organization around it with retail stores. That same thing at the core is happening. It doesn't have to happen around a retail store. It can happen without a retail store.
So I want to talk about that a little bit because Brooke, in the opening, you said that the retail store is not going away, and I talked about how we've been talking to real estate folks for years, saying that there's a shift coming. They're saying I don't see a problem. They're starting to say maybe there's a bit of a problem. So this question I think relates to how that physical store is going to play into strategy going forward. So the question is, what are consumers not currently buying online and why?
My answer has nothing to do with bricks and mortar, because I think what they're not, things that aren't currently bought online but should be able to buy online, I think real estate, in my view, is an area that can be disrupted. I think that having, and making it popular with real estate agents in the room, I don't know if that's going to be the future anymore. Having someone in between you can buy so many other things online. You're starting to be able to buy securities and shares of companies online. I think real estate is something you're going to be able to buy online pretty soon. You actually probably can, and I just don't know about it. But I think that's coming. Education, for sure, is coming. So things that you never bought in a store anyway are things that I think are coming. So.
What about there's certainly some retail categories where people are shopping less online. You hear it about apparel. People are saying, you have to try it on, touch, feel. Groceries in North America is very low as a penetration. Are those categories where consumers are going to start to get comfortable shopping online in a more significant way?
I think so. I think if you look, for example, at dynamics in groceries, there's a huge company called Instacart that's exploding in the US. People love using the app to get groceries ordered to their home. And it's even more of a standard if you look at Asian markets like Korea and China. So it's really probably a matter of time and consumer confidence and better experiences that can make you more confident that you're buying the right thing. The other important part of that is for sure returns. I think in Canada it's a bit more challenging because of distance. But again, in Asia it's much easier to return something if you don't like it. People are more comfortable with bigger purchases because you can just give it back to the merchant.
And Jeff, you're in categories that were never purchased online before.
So why this is so simple, me being in this for so long, it's easy to see. Why it's happened faster in Asia is the same reason why cell phone adoption happened faster in countries that didn't have telephone poles. Because there wasn't the existing structure. And if you just ask yourself this question, I'm going to take a completely opposite side. You're dropped to earth today, and there is no retail store and infrastructure supporting retail store, because all retail store is a way from goods to get from A through, and it's through distribution, through retail store, so you can drive to the store to pick it up. There is no structure, and there's this internet, there's this ability to tie it all together in a way better fashion. Which one would you pick? And if that's the one you would pick, you can already see the writing on the wall. That's actually what's happened in Asia. That's why it's a faster adoption rate, because there was no retail store base. And it's slower adoption in US and Canada because there is this existing piece that they're talking about omni-channel, and it's already dead. And you can see the signs of it everywhere. You can see the signs of it in orders, and then people say, well, the exact same things that people talked about with the books, but it won't happen here. And now that whole replay is, well, in the next category, well, it won't happen here. In the next category, it won't happen. It's happening everywhere. And behind that retail store, there's a whole distribution infrastructure supporting the retail store, and a whole logistics infrastructure supporting all of that, and beyond and beyond. It's all coming out. It's all going to be blown up. And I think I'm on the side of this that it's really hard for people, executives, to take their frame of reference and change that frame of reference to something new that's coming. It's really hard to make those things work. And so I'll use an example there. In Blockbuster executives, right? Looking back, oh no, it's okay. A little bit store traffic, a little bit store traffic, a little bit store traffic. As Netflix is gaining, really small base, but they're nothing. until it breaks because you took the most profit, and it breaks hard. And in over a year and a half, they're out of business. And Netflix takes off as the same result. It's the other side of that. I think that's happening everywhere.
So it's your view that there are no categories of products that the consumers won't buy.
I can see real-time data in our business and how it all ties together, and it changes the entire infrastructure supporting that. It's happening faster and faster and faster as we drive into this. Took a long time to create that.
I'd love to.
Okay, we got it.
Provide a rebuttal.
Okay, here we go.
Well, what I would say is I think that I would agree there's nothing that folks won't buy online these days. But if you're building a brand, you help yourself out by building a little heart in the community. When I was at Lululemon, Christine Day would tell you, that was the former CEO, she would tell you that they never would have been as big as it's become if they just built online, because especially if you're a woman, I mean, going into that store, there's a whole guest experience that surrounds buying that product. And it's brand building, and I think when you're looking at these vertical brands like Lululemon is, and Bonobos is, and Warby Parker is, there's a whole guest experience that goes around building a brand, which fuels the e-commerce too. The e-commerce goes up, the stores goes up, those go up together, and that's all brand related. So that's why I think you see stores coming when you have a vertical company that builds their own product that wants to control their own sales channels. That's where stores are coming from.
I just wanted to offer and support really Brooke's point here as much as I sorry, Jeff, but
it's good. It's what makes the debate fun.
What I think I've seen in sort of the e-commerce world is that there was a vision of efficiency that e-commerce brought, and Jeff, I thoroughly agree that there are industries which we will drive out multiple layers of inefficiency in those industries, in those supply chains, et cetera, to get a product to an individual. But when it comes down to it, I have to side with Brooke on the fact that a brand provides an experience. A brand, and I think we really do see the polarization of consumers into two very distinct categories. One is the consumer who wants to see a small thumbnailed view of their product, click on it, spin it around, take a look at it, buy it, and want it there within 48 hours. But there is also the human element. There is the people who do want to leave their home, shop, go out with friends, experience the brand, and have the brand, and this is where it really gets interesting with e-commerce, is where that online and that offline and that bricks and mortar experience have to seamlessly become one. So when you experience when you experience a product that you're viewing online, you're virtually seeing that product. That experience with the use of in-store recognition, the in-store screens, in-store personalization has to be an extension of that digital experience. And so we're really seeing a whole new sort of category of commerce that we're calling experience-driven commerce, which is a brand that wants to differentiate against the one who maybe provides the most efficient and cheapest product, but one that provides a product that really has a very human, very experiential element to it. And those are the brands that we're seeing adopt very sort of omni-channel, multi-touch point, commerce everywhere type of products.
So here's can I follow up on that?
You're not going to get another word.
Okay, I'll provoke you even more. Yeah. In our study that we do annually, Global Powers of Retail, the top 250 retailers globally, I scan down the list, and the most profitable relative to their revenue, the very high end brands, very profitable relative to the revenue. But apart from those, Home Depot, the most profitable. Mm-hmm. That's a place.
Yeah, there's been no real explosion in this chat. It's a laggard of the food, which is starting to move now, and heavyweight construction supplies, and heavyweight, not just furniture, construction supplies, and everything else. And there's a simple reason for it. there was no delivery mechanism for that to happen. So anything digital, you could see just move, right? Because there's no distribution friction. Anything under 150 pounds, you could move next because you could scale against UPS and FedEx. Because UPS and FedEx provided a mechanism to solve the anywhere to anywhere problem, right? So you take out an existing distribution network that relies on point-to-point network, and you replace it with this point can travel anywhere. You need a logistics network to be able to solve that distribution efficiency. FedEx and UPS weren't designed for the internet. They were designed to solve the problem lightweight, high value goods. That was a perfect enabler for anything under 150 pounds. The problem with that delivery mechanism is it's gated by planes, trucks, warehouses, an entire stack to be able to do that. Solving the over 150 pounds, which we only found out after we started that we had to solve, was an enabler. So we actually built first a BuildDirect, in almost a FedEx of overweight, so we could solve the anywhere to anywhere problem, so we can enable overweight commerce. That's just started. I'm getting to the point that the experience. I would ask, and I'm going to be provocative in here, and it's not because my business is because I really believe this is where we're going. So I need to spend most of the time on where the future is going rather than protecting the past. I get it if I'm doing something different, that I would try to protect the existing. But from the frame of reference, what that I see, I just don't see, being provocative on this issue, is what gives me in four walls, all the retail spaces is four walls, the privilege to forever win the experience. There's nothing. Because you could say, and if you dial back time, and I mean, looking backwards, it's easy to see, and I would argue this point. Today, if you picked Home Depot's experience in their four walls versus our experience, they probably win. They have broader selection. They probably have everything else. Here's what happens, though. In a year, their increment on their four walls is incremental. The experience online and what we're building into the experience here, it's doubling every year. It's doubling. The customer perceives value is doubling every year, and as it passes, as it's on par, customers move. As it doubles the next year, a lot more customers move, and it's that we're talking about. We're really bad. Human beings are really bad at seeing exponential change. Nobody in this room, including me, could actually understand that we have more information in our phones than the President of the United States had in the 80s, right? It's hard to even see, and then what that impact does to the edges of all the other industries. That's what we're talking about. This exponential, the platform and the data underlying the trend on e-commerce are so powerful, and it's moving at a lightning speed that the data is becoming more powerful and guiding what's next. It's all information based.
I'll be quick. I think online versus offline is almost a false dichotomy. I think people don't lose sleep at night thinking, will I shop online or in store next week? They think about, do I need something, and where can I get it, and what is the price? So in a world where mobile commerce is a commodity and in your pocket is a buy button for anything, which is going to happen, it's more about the buying journey. And people are spending lives in the real world, except the Matrix movie where they're not. And I think our attention is influenced by things we see online and things we see in the real world. And the winning merchant will manipulate these two elements to provide that pitch to you. And some will have an advantage online, and some will have an advantage offline. I think the future is a mix of both.
Brooke, go ahead. Similarly provocative things to talk about in terms of guest experience. What I think these brands that are converting to bricks and mortar are doing, what they're going after is not so much the guest experience of say, Home Depot, but take a look at the guest experience of an Apple or a Lululemon. So having been from that company, what I can tell you is that when you go into that store, you're going to have a conversation about what are you up to in your life? Yoga, running. Oh, you're running a marathon. Oh, really? Well, what are your goals? Oh, here's my goals. This is the best running trail. You should train with this group. It's a whole lifestyle that's being created, and it's actually we're not talking about pants. And so that's the kind of guest experience that Lululemon is known for. When you go to an Apple store, there's the Genius Bar. You can explore all sorts of things. They do sessions inside their store. They're bringing something additional into your life other than products. And so that's the guest experience. It's so special and it's so rare. And when you look at Warby Parker, they're trying to do the same thing. All of these ones that are going offline are trying to, they get that guest experience. It's something special, bringing something different into your life that has nothing to do with the product.
Okay, and I'm going to ask one last question, and this is a fascinating conversation, and it does get back to that initial definition I gave of retail, which is a product and an amazing experience. And what we're talking about is how do you create that amazing experience, and whether humanity needs that physical space. And I think you probably need a little both. I think that's what the consumer wants. The consumer is so diverse, but you can't have a one size fits all. I do want to ask each one of you, talk to us about a company or two we should keep our eyes on over the next while in the retail space that are really taking on these challenges and bringing into focus the things that we've been talking about.
I think Warby Parker is the next Lululemon for sure. That's one to keep your eye on. I think Bonobos is interesting. I think it's actually going to be acquired by Nordstrom. It's a dynamic that you're seeing in the industry right now. But from an e-commerce that then to bricks and mortar, and just from a whole brand and product perspective, I think Warby Parker has all of the ammunition and they'll reach the same brand heights as Lululemon for sure.
Peter?
One of our customers that's just blowing me away is McGraw-Hill Education, and how they're reinventing learning materials, taking the curated set of information that used to come between two hard covers that you would use as a textbook, and turning that into a fully digital experience that's monetized as it's consumed, that's very purpose built for students. Disrupting entire industries like Uber or some of the others, the real estate industry, the education industry, the delivery of educational material. I think those are the companies to watch. And I've watched some of the businesses that have really made a very conscious effort to reinvent themselves, and they're leaving their competitors in the dust.
So Jeff, BuildDirect, obviously.
Well, I was going to say that too.
I'm actually not smart enough to pick winners. I'd say who I think about the most are the up-and-comers without the risk of everything else to come and displace the things that are coming so fast that we don't see. That's what and again, it's all of these exponential trends and new technologies and new abilities to reach customers out of them. Make the interface simpler for customers out of them. But at those edge points, there's a whole bunch of new business opportunity. It's hard to pick which ones are the winners.
There's two I like, and they're actually very different. One is an app called Spring. It's actually not available in Canada, unfortunately, but the idea is that it's a mall, but as an app. You go into it, set up your personal preferences, and start getting suggestions from different brands you like. You can buy your things right there and get it shipped to your house. So the idea is that the malls come into your phone. It's personal. It's a concierge where you can buy things from all the brands you like. The other company I'm really watching carefully, I'm sure Jeff as well, Alibaba, and looking at their success in a very different marketplace, in a very different mobile environment, and seeing that they take this marketplace model outside of Asia and bring it to North America. I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos is worrying about the same thing. So I think marketplaces are taking off, and Alibaba can do a lot to accelerate innovation in that area.
So I've got a bunch more questions, but I'm sure you all do as well. So why don't we get started with some audience Q&A? I saw your hand first.
take on that?
I mean, I have no idea. We follow this stuff every day, and I haven't seen anyone even write about the intersection of retail and virtual reality. I would love to have to see what people are thinking, but at this point, I have no clue. That's my answer.
Yeah, it's hard to play that far forward what that changes experience. Kind of the mass adoption of Oculus probably for gaming first, and then behind that a wave of experience and what builds. I would look for opportunities there. What are so that's an enabler, and then the platforms that are developed behind it to take those users. How it applies to retail right now, it feels a little early, but it can change drastically. That's one of those edge points that you just don't know you have to stay on.
Maybe all of a sudden you'll be able, like you're here tonight, but you'll all of a sudden be able to transport yourself to the Dubai Mall, which has every luxury store, and you'll be able to be in Dubai and maybe go outside the mall. I don't know, I'm making it up, but I mean, this is maybe where it would go. It's a great mall.
I think if you look at these technologies, like when Google Glass came out, and certainly there's a hype around it, but then very quickly the devices that are now internet enabled find their niche. I actually don't have a lot of faith in what Apple Watch is going to do, to be honest. I think Apple Watch is a gimmick, just like Google Glass was. You will find a niche that will be very well served by that, and it may be a much larger niche than anything Google Glass ever would do. But there is a niche, and then you'll find some other device that will be a different type of wearable that will find its niche. And I think with technology like this, they will first start and be very successful in niches, and then you'll see slower adoption elsewhere. I don't see Oculus in retail as an immediate niche.
The watch, I wouldn't bet against Apple. If you think about what Apple is doing, hard to bet against them. But what they've done in every one of these, iPod was launched with iTunes. It was this was the enabling device, and this was the platform that pulled it all in. iPhone was launched with App Store. Watch is all health. Wait till you see the developers develop health for Watch, and they have the entire crowd developing for Apple, which is going to be able to monitor your health and make your health better in real time. And that's the killer app. That's the killer app for the phone. So if for the watch, that phone would have never worked against BlackBerry and anything else if people weren't talking about the apps that drove it. We don't need flashlights anymore, or cameras, or anything else. All of that isn't being produced. It's all in an app.
I think with virtual reality, the current state of technology is that you try for 10 minutes, you got to lie on the couch for 30 minutes because you feel sick from using it. And it's still pretty early. I think it's much more likely that we'll see augmented reality come much quicker, and that's using your phone in store to do more with merchandise in store. And in particular, the Apple Watch is interesting because of how much easier it makes using any sort of NFC and beacon technology for payment or other things. You can just touch your payment terminal with your watch and pay for something versus take it from your pocket and go into the app, etc. So I think those technologies are much quicker for enhancing our experience in virtual reality, which is more for entertainment and gaming.
What about the price? If something is $50, it doesn't really matter where you buy it. It's $50 more or less, right? So, but a product to me at different time of the day, different situation will have different value. Is there an opportunity to actually target the product to a specific customer with a specific price? Maybe in the morning I'll pay $10 for a coffee. At 7 p.m. I will not pay a penny for it, right? So is it technologically viable to actually figure out who's willing to pay what and offer a certain price? And is it actually fair to do so?
So your question is, how do we find the suckers?
That's probably exactly what it is, yeah.
But on the supply and demand side, what you're just talking about, and what drives more demand, price drives. There's a price and yield curve that drives more demand. In fact, that's what Uber's done. Match both sides. Uber will talk about liquidity in the marketplace. And as what they learned is let's say you use New York for as an example. They found on one side of the platform they had a whole bunch of idle black cars at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And if they tweaked price down, instead of those black cars driving 1 trip an hour, they did 12 trips an hour. And so the black car drivers made more money as they did it. And so it's matching liquidity to the demand. And yes, that's exactly the point. And so what's Uber is doing now? They just launched I saw the test. They have so much liquidity in their system that they're driving that price down even more and more, and people aren't buying cars. They're using Ubers all the time because what they're doing is they're called point loads. So they pick up customer A, pick up customer B, drop off customer A, pick up customer C. And it just keeps on. The car's always driving, and the prices come down so much that it's driving way more liquidity into the lanes that just keeps on. It's a positive virtuous cycle that keeps on happening. I think that's actually underlying a whole bunch of the opportunity that you can't see that demand if you have something stuck in a store and say I'm going to do that one off at a time. It's impossible to do with data. The data underlying all these structures is what ties it together and allows you to do things you had no idea. The technology interface kind of below the API, which the machines are doing the work, is what's creating that.
Yeah, I think the reality is we've had so much inefficiency in behind the scenes in retail for many years, and you also had mediocre consumer experience. Some people, they leave the retail experience and it was okay, but it wasn't spectacular, it wasn't fantastic. And so what the technology is allowing retailers to do now is to provide that spectacular experience. And that means having a variable pricing that allows that experience to be even more optimal. That'll happen.
I think I can. I think what she's asking is how will the bricks and mortar channel of a business understand how much of their business is connected to what was bought online? And what I know that's out there right now, a Canadian company called Tulip, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but Frank and Oak is testing it in their new offline channel. And so when their guest walks in, they already know what they've purchased online. They have that profile. They're that millennial which isn't afraid to share what has been purchased. And so they can start to see what's been purchased online. I don't know exactly how, this would be a great question for Tulip, how they're linking what's then bought in store to what's online and what that balance looks like. But there is software out there. Tulip's one of them. I think there's probably more that's trying to get right at that.
I think in 5 years it will be a solved problem, partially because as a retailer you try to connect your e-commerce to your in-store with profiles, and as a consumer you have your mobile device with the social login information in your contact box. It's actually a personal ID that you always carry with you. And I think those two will connect with permissions for controlling privacy, but overall will provide for a better and connected shopping experience across online and offline.
Are we getting a hook?
Oh, you've got a volume.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead one more time.
Okay.
Is this on? Okay. So I've heard you talk about mobile. Of course, it's number one screen. It's the number one channel.
But some of the talk is about internet mobile, and some of the talk is about apps being used on mobile. So in terms of the user experience, I find that I use the internet. I've got so many apps, that's it. There's only so much room in the app wallet. So what's going to be the long-term choice, of winner for user or technology deployment?
It's hard to say. It's what creates a habit that you want to use it every day. That's why this is the best stores created in the past created something that their buyers needed to go there to solve an emotional connection. That's what the best apps do the same thing, and they it's almost an addictive nature. Facebook, people talk about Facebook being it lets me connect with friends. What Facebook really solves is letting me show off what I'm good at and then having my friends comment, and that's the addictive. People go back to Facebook to see what the friends said about their post. That's what the truth of it is. And Facebook is selling you, right? Every person you're making a trade to give your data, they are selling you to advertisers. Make no mistake. And so you're the product. If you're okay being the product and everything else. But asking what made that so addictive is the key to making all of these. What makes all of the apps addictive or the mobile experience addictive? It's the same thing. What creates in a world today where we have 1 billion messages coming at us, what are we going to listen to? We're going to listen to something that shocks us and says, wow, I should listen to this, and then surprises, delights us. And the more frequency of that surprise delight, the more habit forming it is. That solves an emotional connection. Those are the ones that'll stay on your phone as apps that you'll use all the time. The other ones you'll delete.
We definitely see mobile web being used more because it's an easier way to search and shop. However, for loyal customers, brands often deploy apps to make an even better experience. It knows who you are, has a better user interface, etc. So it's like 80-20 type rule. In the future, we see the borderline between the web experience and app experience being more and more diluted. We're launching a pilot with Google and one of our customers this week to bring notifications to a website for the first time. It's a new feature in the Chrome browser from Google on desktop and on mobile. So before that was only for apps, and now it's also on the web. So it's really very similar, and consumers don't really care. They care about a really good experience they can find at any point in time, and if they like the brand, they'll end up using the app probably.
Okay, I just want to take a quick look behind us, and I think if I don't mind asking the last question here off, and I just make it general, and that's about Alibaba. Is there any sort of thoughts on, in this question, what does American e-commerce, and let's just say Canadian e-commerce, has to answer Alibaba's aggressive expansion? Do any of you guys have a thought or two on what to think about Alibaba?
So I think they have a hard time. So network effects rule the day, and the companies that aggregate around those network effects, and that's what happened with Airbnb. That's what happened with Uber. It's hard to create the next one because the density of the platform, everybody goes to the first one. I think Alibaba's done a really good job there in China, but so Alibaba started off. And they were way more of a listing service. That's why the high margins. And they're trying to make a port to e-commerce. From listing service to e-commerce, which they've done a good job in China of doing, in the supply chain and everything else to do, is a harder move because the listing service is the Wild West, right? People don't trust it. It's everybody. It's high margin because people will pay for it. But it's the Wild West because everybody can be on there, and you can't qualify the vendors. So Alibaba's up with some pretty significant competition in Asia, growing faster. JD.com and everything else growing faster, and bringing that into the U.S. where Amazon has tremendous strength on their supply chain, and they've already conquered the buyer. The buyer trusts them and wants to buy more and more and more. it's hard to break through that network effect on their own. So, but similarly, why it's hard for Amazon to go to Asia, because once that platform is established, it's hard to create the next one. All the infrastructure and everything else that's with it.
I want to take that one on?
In the States, at least, Amazon is pretty safe because they're so powerful. And it's hard for a lot of the crossover. It's a very different cultural environment, very different economical environment. I think the real battle is going to be for emerging markets. Who can bring e-commerce to Africa, to Latin America, to more different Asian countries? And I think that's where Alibaba is the strongest, and it's going to be a big challenger to American powers. I agree with that.
Okay, you want us to wrap it up?
If we can wrap it up, that'd be great. So, but before we resign to have a couple of beer and nibbles, if I could invite Clayton Weir from the BCTIA to come up and just have a quick word.
We didn't get to open water swimming, so we'll have to do that during the nibble hour.
This is kind of the worst spot of the night. It's sort of between like listening to smart people and beer, which are both way better than talking, listening to me. So, why am I here? The point is, I'm representing the BCTIA, and our goal, full stop, is to grow the technology industry in British Columbia. So, we're pretty fortunate. There's actually three of the kind of most prestigious companies of recent vintage in the industry on stage all at once. But the problem is, despite the fact that we've become really good at making startups in Vancouver, there's Penzu's number 2,000. I've seen 8,000 somewhere today. Only about 4% of the tech companies are what we call anchor companies. They have 10 million in revenue. They'd be like north of 50 employees, and we don't think that's enough. So what we're doing, starting to, well, I guess tonight the applications opens. We're starting a new residential cohort-based accelerator program at the Hub. The premise is simple. We want to bring 3 companies in, and so not pure startups. These are companies that have 250,000 to $1 million in sales. They have some semblance of product market fit. And I just want to grow. And the belief is that if we bring accountability, we bring connections, and we bring really smart mentors like Jeff and Igor, who are really smart mentors, going to be in our program, we can help them grow faster. And if they start growing faster now, it changes the whole trajectory. And it makes the journey to $10 million and to $100 million. And hopefully someday a company that does $10 billion or does $1 billion in sales in Vancouver, that much more achievable. So for everybody in the room, I guess the ask is simple. Applications open tonight. That's the site. It's hypergrowth.bctia.org. We're looking for 3 awesome companies that are in market, that are, again, in that stage, less than $1 million in sales, that are really serious about joining the program. 6-month intensive sales accelerator and becoming the next unicorn. So if you are one of those, join up. If you're working with companies like that, if you're a seed stage investor or the professional services people in the room, let your clients know. And if you're somebody that can help, opening doors to these, and it really takes a community to build a company like this, and that's why we're doing it. So that's the call to action. Thanks for your time. Enjoy your beer.
Instead of saying all the housekeeping that we have going on, quick, $200 membership, come here every time. Okay, let's go have beer. Thank you very much, everybody. Really enjoyed your input. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for moderating. That was well done. Yeah, appreciate it. Hey, that was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun.